I told her to go sell some things to buy a bus ticket home and come back. And she didn't come back. I'm Acadia Einstein, and this is Strangeful Things.
Sheltering in place is not advised, as your survival cannot be ensured in that scenario.
Well, this practically caused me to just get you destroyed.
Unsolved, unresolved, and super complicated.
Strangeful Things.
Welcome, everybody, to Strangeful Things. I'm Acadia. I'm here with Shuey, the well-lit Shuey.
Oh, and now it's dark again.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, it went out.
Yep. Well, it's back.
See, I know that a lot of you just listen to the podcast, but what you don't know is that we have hot video action that we don't put on the YouTube, which now that I think about it would probably be smart. Nah, that'd be fucking terrible. Terrible.
It would give our enemies too much fodder.
That's true. This is
too many freeze frames and bad angles.
Yeah, we can't be doing bad. What the fuck is a good angle? If the camera was aimed directly at the desk.
The camera on is a bad angle.
Yeah. So this is Strangeful Things, where we take stories that are not, lighthearted most of the time. Yeah. And we shove all this knowledge in your head and we grease it up with laughter.
Yes.
So
even the worst of things.
That's right.
We can make tangentially funny.
And you know what? In the new season, last week, we forgot to do new and good. So now that's not a thing anymore, I guess.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, hot damn.
You thought it was going to slip
format. I thought you changed the format and just forgot to tell me.
No, I just forgot the format, and now I just told you. That's different.
That is different.
But whatever. I had to go on camera twice for work today, so I'm all worn out. So we're not doing new and good.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking
twice.
Awful.
Yeah, I had to do it at 8:30 this morning because the British guy, he's the only one on the Zoom call who you can see like his arms down to the elbow. And I'm pretty sure like he recently worked out kind of thing.
Oh, Jesus.
He's like, guns are out.
Right.
Enjoying the show.
Get a little bit of a pump on before I get on the Zoom. That's right. Got a fresh shirt. I've been just doing curls sitting there at my desk. Pip, pip. Right. Well, we're not going to London for your weirdly masculine coworker. We're going to Ecuador, and not just Ecuador. We've got a few countries that we're going to go to, and I'm giving you a choose your own adventure.
Oh wow!
So when we talk about serial killers, which we're absolutely talking about tonight,
yes,
you can either start with, here's how this person grew up, and then here's what they did.
Right.
Or I can start out with how he got caught and then fill the rest of it back in.
Well, since you already ruined it with now we know that he got caught.
Well, yeah, but there's a twist. Actually, there's like 7 twists.
Hot damn.
I'm not going to fucking blow my...
That's a lot of twists, man.
Yeah. It's a lot.
That's a lot of twists. You didn't tell me I was going to have to focus tonight.
Why start now? Which way you want to go? Caught or...
I say, let's just tell it in the order it happened.
No, all right, so now I got...
Well, that was one of the options, right? Tell it chronologically.
The order, yeah. All right, so we're talking about a person named Pedro Alonso Lopez, also known as the Monster of the Andes.
You got to be pretty bad to get Monster as your
Not
nickname.
only Monster, but monster of an entire fucking mountain range. Like, it's not even
mountain range.
Yeah.
It's second highest in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you're getting a lot of territory there.
It's
to be the
Rocky
monster
Mountain
of.
Cockcrabber. And the
Jersey Devil only has New Jersey, right?
That's right. And there's not really any mountains there. The Rocky Mountain
Oakville
Cockcrabber
blobs only existed in Oakville.
Yep. And the Himalayan butt toucher.
Oh,
they're all not as bad as this fucking guy.
Oh, this guy.
So he was born in 1948, I want to say.
Fucking boomer.
Ha! That's right. Fucking boomer.
Fucking boomer.
So his father was a member of Colombia's Conservative Party, which, I mean, I figure every country has a conservative party, I would assume. But in 1948...
They're Catholic, so I can imagine what their platform was.
Well, it was a little rough because they had a civil war.
Well, of course they did.
And... well, yeah. And the father got shot and killed. So that was the end of the father. And it was while Lopez's mother was pregnant with him.
Oh, Pedro.
With little Pedro. And like, this is not one of those cases where everything is all conjecture and nobody knows what happened and blah. Even though there's some of that, because like these people were like still alive. There was a lot of, and they fucking talked. I mean, not as victims. They didn't say anything because they were dead. But the people that were alive were chatty. Right. And so the mother
chatty.
The mother says when she described what happened when she found out that her husband was dead, said, "I thought I was going to lose him from the shock. I could feel him inside me, but he was of strong blood." Which is kind of a weird flex because she said this after she found out that he was a serial killer.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
It is quite beautiful, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would have been better if she had done a big fucking belly flop or something. But anyways, on October 8th, 1948, little Pedro Lopez was born in Santa Isabel in Colombia. And the fact that he was born in Colombia is going to come up later, so jot that down. When he was 5, him and his family moved to Espinal.
Still in Colombia, or?
Yeah, still in Colombia. Oh, and by the way, from a geographical standpoint, let's just get some shit out of the way, because it's not bad if you don't know where any of these places are, but I'm going to help because we're talking about the left side of South America.
Also known as the West Side.
Well, yeah. But Saeed. Oh, yeah. Well, sure. If you want to look at the maps that way. Anyway. So here's how South America goes. Although it's also funny that South America could just as easily be called East America, which I don't think a lot of people realize.
Well, then it would have been like my kids' high schools, because that was split into Sachem North and Sachem East for some reason.
Yeah.
See? Well, could have been like the same deal.
So
how exciting.
There's Panama.
I thought that was in Central America.
Panama connects Central America to South America, and it borders Colombia. And to the south of Colombia is Ecuador. And then to the south of Ecuador is the long, skinny country known as Peru. And then after that is the other long, skinny country known as Chile, which does not come into the story at all.
To drink Peru.
And also, Argentina is like they're fucking snobby there. I'm gonna put that out. I'm gonna put that out.
How does that relate to the story?
None, but I just saw it on the map and it reminded me. Anyway, so
it brought back memories.
Yeah. So the story diverges here depending on who you're going to listen to, the mother or the son.
So his mother?
Yeah. His mother says
him?
Yeah, or him.
I think we listen to the mother more than him, right?
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm
sure they're both. Well, I guess in order to create him, the mother would have had to been pretty. Yeah.
Where this is actually worth some picking at. So we'll get there in a little bit, but in the short term, the mother says, "Oh yeah, no, he was super polite. He wanted to be a teacher, you know." And this was based on one story where he helped. She said he helped the other children, and with his notebook, he helped them practice their vowels so that they would learn. Now, I'm sure that it didn't come out that goofy sounding in Spanish, but that's what I got from a translation. So too bad. And he said, "Mom, isn't it true that I'm good at teaching the children? One day I'm going to be a teacher." And the mother goes, and I said, "Yes, I'm pleased. Keep teaching them." What else can a mother say? Like, so I don't know what that meant, because maybe she, like, he didn't know what the fuck a vowel was, and he was just showing him pictures of like frogs and shit like that. And she was just trying to be supportive, but I don't know. We'll never know now.
Yeah, now we won't never know.
So she says, you know, it was all nice like that. And he has a very, very different story. His story contains adult situations, let's say. For one thing.
With whom?
Well,
not mom.
There is a version of the story where his mother was a sex worker who had 13 children. And when she caught him at 8 years old trying to finger his younger sister, she kicked him out. So there's one possible avenue of growth.
Well, there's one family that Catholicism is just running wild on.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
no
so
birth
basically,
control, no abortions, just pumping out the kids like it's printing newspapers.
Yeah, well, it's weird that you said newspapers because that's going to come back later too. So he said she was abusive.
Right.
He quote. This is a quote. There's a lot of quotes from this fucking guy. "That woman was violent. It's my understanding that this woman is sick in the head because that was not the proper way to punish her children. She would punish me with such violence." And he said that when he was little, he saw his father fucking some dude, and for some reason that led to the two dudes beating up his mother. And somehow that led to him trying to defend his mother and himself because he didn't want her to get beat up, but she beat him up. So he didn't know exactly what to do. So there was a problem. So he ran away.
Right.
When he was 8.
8.
So
yeah,
whichever way you slice this fucking story, 8 is not, time to set out on your own.
You're not done cooking yet.
Yeah, this isn't a fucking Stephen King novel where the even his fucking protagonists are usually like 12 or some shit, not 8. So
it's like Steven Spielberg.
Whichever story was true, whether she kicked him out or he ran away or she beat the shit out of him or something, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that he said he saw his father commit sexual acts with a man because he was dead.
Before he was born, right?
Right. So maybe it was his stepfather or maybe it was just two dudes. Hey, yeah, can we fuck in your house? Because this is the most crowded house in the town. And if you don't let us, we'll tune you up. Whatever it was.
That seems likely.
The mother's fucking thought process was she believed that he had been kidnapped by a neighbor.
All right.
And she said, that night I cried and cried. I looked all over for him and I couldn't find him. Then I went to a man who was a fortune teller and he said that Pedro went in a car with some guy. So I borrowed money to go to where the fortune teller said he went. And I cried and cried. My son was stolen. So if your first, how bad do the fucking cops have to be in your town if your first thought is to go to a fortune teller? That's going to come up too. So, oh no, my house has been robbed. I better call a
912. Don't call 911. 912. That's the psychic hotline.
Where's the blacksmith? He'll know what to do. So Pedro was on his way to Bogota, which the New Jersey town, spelled exactly the same way, is pronounced Bogota in a what I find to be a very New Jersey-ish thing. Like it's already a word. You can't just change it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it could have been pronounced a different, like a pagoda, maybe it was like a last name.
Yeah, but that would have been a D anyway. I'm not here to fight about New Jersey. New Jersey is actually a very beautiful state. I think people's impressions of New Jersey
state, from what I understand,
I lived in a very pretty area. I think that people's perceptions of New Jersey are
spot on.
Ruined by both popular culture and the opening of The Sopranos, which is him driving through. It's people that fly into Newark and go to the city. They see the shittiest part of New Jersey.
That's true.
You know? So anyway, so if you're from New Jersey and you're listening, you know what? I don't know why the fuck you pronounce that town that way, but other than that, I got no beef with you. So, but Pedro had beef because he was 8. And he was in the capital of
his own.
Colombia, living on his own. And he said of himself, I was a very alert child, very spirited with an innocent mind. The majority of my childhood, I was abandoned and lived in filth. My life has been dishonest because of being abandoned. The years can take someone and change one drastically. Which, I mean, that's empirically true, that last part. I don't know about the big part. I mean, well, if he did live in Bogota, so he did live in filth, because I don't think he fucking got, kidnapped by I don't know, some fucking escaped Nazi war criminal who brought him to live in his fucking chateau. So, because where are they? In Argentina.
You don't know that for sure, right?
They're in Argentina with the rest of the snobs. So, they called the thousands of homeless kids in the 50s in Bogota gamines, which basically means kids. So they didn't have a really great name for them. But anyway, most of them had left because they were abused and they were street kids. It's like if watch the movie Kids from the 90s and then you'll see, except those kids had houses, but they were fucking jerks. It's a good movie though. Strangeful Things endorses the movie Kids.
Let's get back on track there, champ.
All right. Well, he ate garbage and he started smoking bazuco, which is it's cocaine paste. It's like if you had a baby And the baby was cocaine. Basuco is the afterbirth. And not the delicious, healthy placenta, but I don't know, whatever else comes out. Maybe like
the umbilical cord.
Yeah, little poop. I don't know how any of that works. So he was a kid smoking coke sludge, and so the smartest thing he did was join a gang. Because why wouldn't he? If you're a street kid, you got to hang out with other street kids, because otherwise you're going to get
somebody to protect you.
What if there's a fucking rumble? And they had a bunch of
rumble.
Yeah, well,
like in The Outsiders or something like that.
Yeah, like The Wanderers with Ken Wall. So the
Wanderers,
they were another good movie. He was rumbling and eating garbage and smoking dope, and then he says that he had got molested by a dude. Quote, being a child, I lost my innocence. They dishonored me. I was a small child, very innocent. It was something I wanted to forget. I don't deny that it affected me. I have always wanted to punish those responsible. So remember that. Remember that line. I have always wanted to punish those responsible. Because what he said was, some guy went, hey, street kid that's busy stabbing another street kid, why don't you come with me and I'll feed you and give you a nice bed to sleep in? And, of course, that's a good deal. So Lopez says, sure. And then the guy takes him to an abandoned building and rapes him. Because, of course, he does. And then fucking Lopez says, quote, I hated it. When I see a certain person, let's say a male adult that does not respect a young boy, well, I see to it to fix that person.
Ooh.
So you see how we're getting set up for, some type of Dexter type child molesting serial killer attacker?
Yeah, like some sort of, like a justice angle to it. Yeah.
He said he couldn't go to the police because they didn't give a shit, which I believe.
Oh yeah, they don't give a shit about those people now.
So now nobody can prove the initial rape, but they are pretty solid on when he was 10. Some old white people just came down the street, and they were like, "Hey, you poor pathetic little bastard, come live with us." Because you're making us sad. So he did. And no, they weren't evil.
What they do to him?
No, they weren't evil. No.
What?
They enrolled him in a school for orphans. And for 2 years, things were pretty great. I don't know why, if they brought him in, why he had to go to the orphan school. Why couldn't he just go to the... They're like,
why couldn't they
we're
just
more
take
like
him?
landlords than parents, though. So don't...
Yeah, we're just think of us as like fostering him.
Yeah. Until...
we're not keeping him.
No.
But we don't want to see him, in the gutter.
So when he was 12, one of his teachers molested him. So that wasn't great. And he freaked out, stole money from the school's office, and booked it and left the couple. So he didn't go back to his safe haven because the school that he went to had a creepy teacher that molested him. And he went back to the streets.
Like, how fucked up must your life be for that to be the place where you feel safe?
No winners. That's how we roll. So he said of himself, I've led a backward life, disoriented.
He said it in Spanish.
Yeah, but I got to translate it. I have been without support and help, but what mostly I needed was support. Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
So he fucking made it on the streets of Bogota for 13 years. Nothing else happened of note. And in 1969, nice. When he was 21,
69.
he got arrested for boosting a car. So he went to jail. And he was in jail for 2 days. And then he was brutally raped by 2 older inmates. And I don't know what the obsession with the media in general is with adding the word brutal in front of rape, because it implies there's like tender rapes. There's no
right. Is there loving rape?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's anyways. Lopez was like, well, I don't like this at all, but now I'm grown up. So he made a fucking shiv and killed them both. Which,
oh boy,
good on him.
Yeah.
Because what did he say before? If I see a certain kind of person that does shit like that takes advantage of a boy, I'm going to do something about it. But He was a guy, he was a grown-up, but he fucking killed him. He said, when I was locked up in Colombia, I was taught how to defend myself. I don't deny that in Carcel Modelo, I killed. But the warden said, don't worry. So now we're going to take a little sidetrack because I looked up this place, Carcel Modelo. And it was the Bogota Medium Security Jail and Penitentiary.
Medium security.
Well, because all he did was steal a car at that point.
True.
I mean, we have had stories where people stole fire trucks from jails and crashed them into fences, but this is not that story. They probably didn't have hardly any fire trucks at this prison, so he was reasonably safe, except for the raping. And since the end of the 20th century, the prison has been chronically overcrowded, in several years exceeding 50% more inmates than it's supposed to hold. And we're going to get to why, because, oh, fuck, did I get myself mad? But when I was looking up about the prison, I found out about, because I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. Why isn't it showing him as one of the famous inmates of the prison? And then I didn't follow up on that because I got distracted by someone that we should have done a story on named Buenaventuro Nepomuceno Matallana. He was born in 1891. He was tried and sentenced in 1949 to 24 years in prison for the murder of this merchant. But they figured that he killed some other people and, quite a few other people. His deal was he pretended to be a lawyer and convinced people to sign power of attorney over to him for some quote unquote business matters. And then as soon as they did it, he fucking killed them. Which, I mean, not for nothing. If you already have the power of attorney, it kind of doesn't matter if they're dead. You can't undo that shit, right?
Yeah, you can. If somebody gives you power of attorney, you can clean them out, and they can't really stop you.
Right. It's like when my mother gave the fucking, God rest his soul. She had to go to the cash machine. She took a fucking taxi, but she couldn't get out and get the money, so she just gave her fucking code to the driver to do it for her. So her bank account went from $7 to $3. Poor mom. But anyways, she's in a better place now.
It's like what happened with Rocky and Paulie when Paulie signed away power of attorney in Rocky IV, and Rocky went from being rich to poor.
Yeah, because Paulie spent all the money on robots. Happy birthday, Paulie. Going back to Lopez, he fucking shanked the guys that raped him, and the prison was like, fair is fair.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
We're not gonna tack any time onto your sentence for killing those guys. Don't worry about it.
You put some holes in them. They poked some holes from you.
That's right. So he said, I'm never going to be a fucking victim again. And he decided that he was going to seek his own brand of justice, which he kind of already had established by killing the people that raped him.
Yeah.
And was he going to go back and find all the people that had wronged him in the past?
Raped him before? Because he was raped a lot.
I'll remember you. No.
Like, I guess he's not. I guess he's still a poor guy because he's only killed a couple of guys who raped him.
Right now, and here's where it goes off the rails, because imagine I'm going to try and use an analogy that will make sense, even though it's not super. I was really good at t-ball.
Way to go, man!
But I didn't make Little League. I didn't make Little League. I sucked.
Oh, I
mean, I don't think it was that big. But you know who's good? My brother, who you would not have immediately thought was the super athleticist guy. He went to tryouts and he was like last cut, but he was at the Babe Ruth tryouts by mistake, like, because my mother brought him to the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
So he almost made Babe Ruth when he was only supposed to be going in Little League.
No.
Apparently that was, they couldn't fix it and have him go to Little League. So yeah, I got to dig into that story a little bit, because that doesn't sound right either. Sorry, this is Portland, Maine Little League. We can't just be changing the rules for your
if you tried out for somebody else, then too bad. He
went for the older kids, and this is what you get. So anyway, I didn't make Little League. So let's say that instead of me going, whatever, and being sad for a little while, I decided that it was my fucking supervillain moment, and I was going to get revenge. And my choice was to kill every member of the PBA tour. Every fucking bowler on that tour, dead. What does that have to do with Little League? Nothing. What does Pedro Lopez have to do? What did he do? What he ended up doing have to do with a bunch of guys raping him? Well, we'll dig a little more into it, but apparently he didn't want to fucking start out with Babe Ruth. He started with Little League and just started killing little girls. Because, I mean, it's easier. They were...
Yeah, definitely. It's easier.
They were indigenous people. Yeah. So, of course...
I was going to say, people look for girls, but then you just cleared that up for me.
Yep.
Never mind.
So what he would do, he would pose as a bewildered salesman, apparently. And he could figure out girls that were between 8 and 12. That was his fucking age.
Oh, God.
Group. And he'd be like, "Oh, I'm lost. Can you help me to go to the bus?" Or I don't know, whatever the fuck would trick a fucking 9-year-old girl, which is basically anything because they're fucking 9. And he would take them to a place where it didn't matter how much they screamed because nobody was going to hear them. Then he would rape them.
Oh, my God.
Then sleep with them in the fucking whatever hollow that he found to keep him in. And then the next morning, wake up, rape her again, and then kill her. That's how he had his fucking day planned. And
how old is he at this point?
I mean, he got out when he was 23, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
So he's in his his mid late.
Yeah. This is he was 23. And this went on because this was 71 that he got out. So he would the fucking terror that these fucking girls must have been in is unfathomable.
Well, how many was it?
Oh, we'll get there. And he said,
I mean, of these little girls, these girls.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
Because I'm just wondering, like, how many little girls in one town can you take before?
It wasn't in one town. That's like, the thing. He's the monster of the Andes, not the monster of this street.
I know, but he's still like I didn't think that he was bouncing all over the Andes when he first started. I'm figuring he has like stages of.
Basically, he was like the Incredible Hulk TV show where he would walk around, bumming around from town to town, and then instead of turning into the Hulk and throwing a bunch of things and saving people, he would just rape and murder little girls. So
instead of taking on odd jobs,
yeah. So, and since he was killing indigenous children, ain't nobody looking for him because, obviously the parents, distraught, called all the fortune tellers they knew and couldn't find any of their fucking children. And
some of them even went to priests.
Yep.
I don't know which saint you pray to for your kidnapped kid, but
he did this for years.
Oh my God.
And in 1979, he was in Ecuador. And he met this little girl, poor soul, named Hortensia Garces Lozada. She was selling newspapers. Now, according to her sister, Hortensia's sister, her sister said that their mother was pregnant and selling the newspapers was how they got money to just live. That was the job, the newspaper selling. And on May 5th, 1979, Lopez asked her to be his guide in the city and gave her the equivalent of $10. And she was like, wow, $10 is a lot of money. What, beat selling these newspapers for not $10. And he brought her to the outskirts of town under a bridge and raped her and beat the shit out of her and strangled her and threw her in a ditch and covered her up with the newspapers that she had been selling. And the father flipped out and was trying to find her, but couldn't. And not only did this happen, but at this point, so you had asked how many. At this point, dozens of girls have been reported missing. And what did the police say? They just ran away.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter what fucking country you're in.
No. Police are the same everywhere.
Yeah. So then and there was a lot of people talking about how, the cops suck and they only care about, rich people, blah, blah, blah. But then he grabbed this girl named Ivanova Hakome, actually Hakome, and but her father was a moderately successful baker in the town, and
damn,
yep, and he had his bakery, and then he had an office, and he said that sometimes his daughter would bring him his lunch, and she was supposed to bring him his lunch, and she never showed up. He did not go to a fortune teller. He went right to the cops, and because he was a baker, they fucking paid attention. And people started digging at, well, what about the other fucking girls that we've been telling you have been missing all this time, you dumb fucking cops? And 22 days later, after he had spent every fucking waking making flyers, just looking for her everywhere. 22 days later, they found her in a shack in a farm outside town. The radio station called him and said, "Hey, did you hear they found a girl in a shack?" And he's like, "Great, thanks." and he went to the police station, and it turned out that it was his daughter. So that's fucking terrible.
Oh.
But there was a lot of fucking news coverage about it. Because now they started yapping about it. Because so many girls were disappearing. And the baker's daughter had, made it more, I guess, prevalent in the media. At first, the police assumed that the girls were runaways. They did not take the disappearances seriously. They actually issued a press release saying that these girls ran away because they had failed their school year.
Oh, my God.
So, after the bakery guy, the cops were like, well, we don't have any evidence. We don't have a suspect. Well, it's because you never fucking looked for one, you shitty fucking shit cops.
Yeah, shit.
But on March 9th, 1980, in Ambato, there's like a plaza, with a flea market deal. And, it's, people setting up their stands. It's the street vendors, and this is how the indigenous people made their fucking money. They would go to town and let the townies eat their, fucking wares and whatever. And there was this guy walking around selling chains and padlocks.
Huh.
A wandering
I don't see a lot of guys doing
chain salesman. And they said, and other trinkets. What other fucking trinkets? A big long cartoon net? Like fucking butterfly, for fuck's sake. So he went up to one vendor and he says, yeah, I want some food and whatever like that. And he's looking around, but he keeps fucking looking at the vendor's daughter, who was 11. And the daughter who was interviewed, so this is a good story. Quote, he would look at me funny, strangely, and gesture for me to come over. So I went to my mother and told her, you know what, Mommy, this man keeps looking at me ugly, and he keeps calling me to come over to him. And she's like, well, motherfucker, this is the creep that's stealing all the girls. And she just fucking went right up to him with a bunch of other vendors. Like, basically the flea market fucking caught him, and they were like, hey, you're the fucking, you killed all these girls. And he said, no, I'm not a thief. I have a clean heart. And they were like, guess what? We're going to kick your ass, and then the cops are going to come. So they did. So he was arrested by the people, which has happened before. And there's another case in America that we'll get to at some point where he was caught by the Gen Pop, which was pretty fucking wild. So after the cops caught him, first he didn't want to say anything, and then like one of the cops was fucking nice to him or whatever, and he said that over the last 7 years, as he bummed around between Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, he had raped and murdered about 300 little girls.
Oh my God.
This is what he said. 300. And they were like, what? That's fucking fucked up. And again, he didn't kill adult child molesters. He did the opposite.
Yeah. Right. I'll teach them by taking away their victims.
And guess what? It's even worse because they only liked boys, so I'm going to attack girls. And he got interviewed a lot. He was interviewed a fucking lot. And at one point he said, this is going to be history, right? This is going to be important. And I'm too young to die. He said about himself, I'm too young to die, when he had just told people he killed 300 little girls between the ages of 9 and 12.
Crazy, right?
he should have gotten a harsh sentence just for not realizing what a stupid fucking thing that was to say. And he seemed very, very fucking proud of what he had done. And he said, "Oh yeah, you don't believe me? Well, I'll bring you to some graves." And then the cops did one thing that was smart. They dressed him up like
There's
a
always
cop.
one thing.
They dressed him up like a cop so that like people would just see a bunch of cops walking around and not think of anything. If they just saw a bunch of cops walking around and one prisoner, you know,
Right.
and all the cops are carrying shovels, they're gonna fucking tip off the populace as to what's
Something's
happening.
not right here.
Yeah. So he goes, "Yeah, I caught one girl that sold newspapers and I killed her under this bridge." And he brought him right to it. It was Hortensia, says Losado. It was 10 months before when he had killed her. And the family identified her by the clothes. The townsfolk started fucking throwing rocks. I don't know how. They didn't really explain where this was taking place, but apparently there was at one point everybody was just throwing rocks at him, and the cops like saved him. Which, I mean, maybe they could have just not saved him.
Yeah.
But all the cops were like, they interviewed one cop, and he's like, "Look, we had to. We all knew what the fuck was happening. Like, we knew what a piece of shit he was, but there was nothing we could do. Like, we had to do our jobs because there was a lot of eyes on it, and you can't fuck something up and let him get off. Or could they?" Foreshadowing. So they start giving him, they're giving him fucking chicken dinners and shit. Like, I don't know why people specify what kind of food it is when they're talking about. Like, the quote was, "One strategy we used was to give him tobacco and coffee. We invited him to eat chicken." Like, what? What?
Nice.
What, to your house? Anyway, he was getting off on the fact that he was leading the cops around, and it wasn't one of those.
Right. Yeah, who wouldn't?
It wasn't that he was like dicking around with him, like trying to drag things out, because the motherfucker had a plan that we're going to get to. It's going to make you really mad. At one point,
Sweet.
He had no remorse, by the way, when he was doing this. Like, he was pointing out, "Oh yeah, this is where this other insignificant fucking thing happened."
Right.
You just point, "Yep, nope, she's there, raped her, killed her." I don't know how the fuck this happened, but at one point, he took a skull, the girl's skull, and put it under his arm and asked the cops to take a picture of him. Now, I don't know what fucking chain of events led to him being able to get the question of, "Will you take a picture of me?" out after he already had the fucking skull under his arm. Unless he said, "All right, wait, take a picture of me." What? And then he grabbed the skull. Like, that's the only way I could think that it would happen. Otherwise, he would get, like, he should have gotten seriously beaten for that.
Yeah, definitely.
They didn't take the picture. So good on the cops for that one.
So you're saying there's no proof?
There's no proof of that, I guess. But what there was proof of was the 57 little girls whose bodies were exactly where he fucking said they would be. 57. 50 fucking 7. So he's caught, and he admitted to 57. He proved that he killed 57. Because I don't think, if you told me, "Hey, I'll give you $1 billion if you can bring me to 57 dead bodies, unless they don't include but you can't go to a cemetery loophole,"
Do you think that's how they came up with like Heinz 57 sauce?
Yes. No. Maybe? Based on what he said and based on... So he had the 57.
Right.
And then the cops... he fucking talked and talked and talked and confessed and confessed and confessed. And they, at least in Ecuador, they charged him with 110 counts of murder. Now, he said that he had done at least 200 more than that. Quote...
But that wasn't all in Ecuador, right?
Right. Quote, I am the worst of the worst. Perhaps I took it too far. Perhaps. Here's taking it too far. One little girl killed.
Yeah.
Don't do that to anybody. So, because of my ignorance, the lowest of the low, perhaps even a complete animal. And then the smartness of the fucking guy.
What did he do?
Gets revealed. Okay, so I don't know. This is the thing where I said I started looking into it and then I just made myself fucking mad.
Yeah, angry. Yeah.
The way that Ecuadorian law went, if you consecutive sentences were illegal. So if you killed a person, you got 16 years in jail. If you killed 10,000 people, you got 16 years in jail. Not 16 times 10,000, just 16.
Right, which is how you would do it in the U.S.
So,
oh my God.
That's why he was in Ecuador so much.
Oh, I was supposed to be in at 5, but it's 5:02, so I might as well stay out till 7 or 8. Mom's not going to care. What's the difference?
Right.
Like, that's crazy. Like, that means like once you've done one, like, why stop?
Right. So I started looking up why the fuck the law was like that. And I found an article about how basically everybody in Ecuador is getting thrown in jail for drugs. And it's if you have any drugs, you have the strictest penalty, blah, blah, blah. And why are the laws like that? Because of the U.S. pressuring them. Right. You're not going to get your aid unless you throw some mom who sold some weed to feed her kids. Because we have to show everybody that it's the war on drugs. So that made me mad, and I couldn't fucking look at it anymore. So anyway, that's basically, he didn't give a shit about how many people he admitted to killing in Ecuador because he knew that he was only going to get 16 years no matter what. And it wasn't even like there was a range. It was just 16 years. That's how they had decided. Now, Ecuador
decided that it was human. So first degree murder in Ecuador was a 16-year just flat.
Yeah, but I'm not dunking on Ecuador. Like, you don't hear about Ecuador didn't make any fucking trouble. You know what I mean? Like, you don't hear anybody going, oh, yeah, you know, what we got to worry about is Ecuador. They're not fucking bothering anybody. And every murderer in the country gets out after 16 years. So, and since they're not all dead, maybe, I don't know. This is just bad.
A lot of the people at our southern border are from Ecuador.
Oh, maybe
that's one of the big places to get the fuck out of.
Escaping the murderers.
Exactly.
So he said to a reporter, I can declare that I, Pedro Alonso Lopez, the author of these acts, declare myself guilty. And then he said the thing that made me the maddest, because he started to blame what he did on how he supposedly grew up, although we do know that he at least got molested by a teacher. But anyway, he said, I, Pedro Alonso Lopez, I don't know why he started everything like he was fucking writing a fucking document.
Exactly.
Who like supposedly eliminated a small group of insignificants and allegedly took away their innocence. But my innocence has been taken away from me. So I don't know how much journalistic integrity you have have to not shove the microphone into his fucking eye socket when he said a small group of insignificants. Motherfucker. Now, none of this is what you would call normal behavior, obviously. And there are people who look at it as all he knew was violence, and everything, all the sex he had ever experienced was violence. So that's all he could express.
That's not how it works.
And then he also said he killed them because they were poor.
Oh, well, you got to kill the poor.
He was helping them. He saved them from a life of misery.
Aww.
He called them his munacitas, his dolls. Like he's got some kind of fucking mission.
Yeah.
And then he blamed another guy called Jorge Patino for doing it. Although he then later on explained that Jorge Patino was an alternate personality of his, and he said, I did not commit these crimes. I participated in the acts, and I was involved in them, but he was threatening to kill me, and if I left, he would kill me. And the reporter goes, but you're him. And he goes, no, I'm not Patino. I'm Lopez. And he had a fucking shit, smug fucking grin on his face. Another perfect opportunity to shove a fucking microphone in his eye socket. Surprising nobody, his psychological evaluation determined that he was a sociopath with an antisocial personality disorder.
No way.
He genuinely did not know right from wrong. He had no guilt, no remorse.
No, he didn't even see them as people.
He did not understand. No, they weren't people. All that mattered was how he felt, and it made him happy to do what he did. So the outcomes of it didn't matter.
Yep.
Except that he was fucking smart enough to do it and to confess in Ecuador. He, quote, you asked me if I felt anything while asphyxiating certain persons. Well, no. This is strange, right? Someone who shoots another person with a gun and the other person feels the pain of the bullet. Is the shooter going to feel the same pain? No. So he had this personality disorder, but he still was fucking lucid. He knew what was fucking up, and he knew that the laws of Ecuador would protect him. So basically what it came down to was he was sentenced to 4 months in prison for every girl he murdered.
That he took them to a body shop, right?
Well, I think he got convicted of the 110, but I'm not, I ain't trying to do all that math. Anyways, I already did it once and I don't remember how I did my calculation. So he went to jail. All the townsfolk, well, the country, everybody was mad. Everybody was like, what the fuck? He killed. Fuck. You should at least have to get 1 year for every person that you killed.
It's crazy.
So he was in Ambato, which is where they caught him at the flea market and kicked his ass. And he got transferred to Quito, the big prison. And he got put in the wing for murderers. And apparently, according to the research I did, while he was in prison, he wrote crazy shit in a diary, smoked basuco, and carved coins that had Jesus on one side and the devil on the other. I don't know how that came about.
So he had a knife?
I guess.
Don't worry, I will not stab anyone. Just for carving.
Another one of his crazy quotes, I've always lived in poverty and I have ambition. Being powerful one day or of great importance. I understand what I've done and there is no going back. And he just sat there in prison. He didn't give a shit because he was going to be out when he was 50. He was
going to be out in 16 years, yeah.
Now, on August 31st, 1994, he was released after only 14 years for good behavior.
Well, he was so good. We can
Carving his
ignore.
devil coins. I think that previous bad behavior should impact your good behavior in the like you should, I don't know. But again, there's too many people in the jails. Blah, who the fuck knows why, war on drugs, blah. I'm not blaming. Am I blaming Ronald Reagan for the monster of the Andes? Maybe indirectly, even though he did most of his killing before Reagan was president. But, I mean, he was governor of California. Anyhow. He got let out.
South American foreign policy you get involved with. It's governor of California.
He was 45 when he got out. 45 years old.
Wow.
But
what the fuck?
Then it was kind of fun because the Ecuadorian government was like, haha, he was out. and the fucking country was going to fucking just have a revolt because they couldn't believe that he was out. It was a huge thing because it was all, no one cares about the indigenous people. These people have no justice, whatever. But Ecuador had a little ace up their sleeves, and 1 hour after he was released, he was arrested.
What'd they do?
Mr. Lopez, you are an illegal alien, and you have no documentation to be in the country of Ecuador. Therefore, we are immediately deporting you back to Colombia so that they have to deal with you. And they went to the bridge, which I should have looked up because I bet it's probably cool. But anyway, they did the transfer. They went to the border and went, yeah, here's your piece of shit. And Colombia was like, thanks. And so now he's in Colombia. Now the people of Ecuador were still fucking pissed.
All right.
But since everybody was afraid that he was going to just keep killing people, because why wouldn't he? There's a thing called the DAS in Colombia. It's their national police. And they arrested him kind of pretty much immediately. And they gave him to the prosecutors in the state of Lima. The prosecutors were like, okay, well, we don't have those fucking weak ass laws like Ecuador, and they had evidence for a case in 1979. He had been in Espinal, and within a month, a 12-year-old named Flora Sanchez had disappeared, and then her body had gotten found half buried, and they were like, well, this is obviously him because this was his MO.
Right.
And he got arrested. And they're like, yep, you fucking did it.
You're at it again.
But in 1995, remember I told you there were a bunch of twists?
Yes, all sorts of twists.
In 1995, he was declared insane. So he didn't go to prison.
Oh, my God.
He went to the psychiatric wing of the prison in Bogota. 3 years later, in 1998, the psychiatrist at the prison said that he was sane. Which didn't mean, okay, now you're sane enough to go to jail. It was, you're sane enough to stand trial, but that means that you get bail. And the bail was $50. 50.
I don't understand this.
And this is Colombia. I thought Colombia was they made that song Smuggler's Blues about Colombia, I thought. Anyway, he managed to scrape together the $50 bail of himself. And they were like, all right, well, you can go out on bail, but you're going to have to keep going to the psychiatrist and go to a judge once a month because it's like probation type stuff. And he's like, sure, no problem. And he immediately left Bogota and went to Espinal to see his mother for the first time in 19 years. Quote from the mother. The day he came to visit me, he says to me, Mother, kneel down in front of me so I can bless you. And I said, the one who should kneel down is you. The son is the one who kneels before the mother. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a weird dynamic.
She was bent that he only got down on one knee.
Uh-oh.
And then he said, look, I came to see what you're going to give me for my inheritance. And the mother was like, I'm fucking poor. What am I going to give you something? I have two things, a chair and a bed. These are facts. I have a chair and a bed. And he took the chair and the bed and put them on the porch. And he said to his mother, if nobody buys these, I'm going to set them on fire. And then some lady bought them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like to think that the lady bought them so she could give them back. But she didn't want to make a big deal out of it at the time because, you know, fucking serial killer. Because I'm very, very sure that the mother did not get away with nobody knowing that that was her kid that had killed everyone.
Right.
But at any rate, he took the fucking chair and bed money, put it in his pocket, and has never been seen again.
Huh.
He's loose.
Yeah, I count that.
Which means...
So, which means who knows how many hundred more...
He's only 74.
Fucking victims are there out there. It's probably easier to kill 10, 12-year-old girls as a 74-year-old. You know, you're a decrepit old man asking for help.
Now, after this all happened, Ecuador, under intense public pressure about their fucked up murder sentences, changed the maximum sentence for murder from 16 years to 25 years, but the non-consecutive things still happens. So if you're 20 and you want somebody... No, I'm going to turn this around. I'm not going to help the murderers. Listeners, if your significant other starts to go, and you're like 20 in your 20s, starts to go, we should go to Ecuador. Don't go.
It's a trap.
Because they're going to kill you, surer than shit. In 2002, Interpol released an advisory on behalf of the Colombian government saying that they were looking for Lopez because they're pretty sure that he had killed another girl in Espinal. And I'm going to leave us with one more little quote from this fucking piece of shit, complicated, fucking weird bullshit. When asked, how many victims do you think you have killed? Sir, to give you the exact number, I don't know if I could tell you. It's like a superiority. I am a god. I give life and I can take it away.
Wow.
And they just let him go. So everything that has to do with law enforcement, the lack of law enforcement, how shit is applied unevenly, how poor people always get screwed, etc. You can probably...
It's got it all.
You can probably find another story where somebody who was unjustly accused got let out by that same fucking weird guy in Colombia, the psychiatrist, and it was a good story. I don't know how you apply any of this shit evenly. I'm just thinking that if you bring the cops to the bodies of fucking 57 girls that you killed. That even if you technically can't put them in jail, I don't know, make them. You're the honorary mayor, but you have to show up for work every day in this small office that doesn't have a phone or anything to do. So it's like jail, but it's not jail because he's the mayor. It's fucked because who the fuck no? Because it's not like they went, well, you know what? From now on, now that he's loose, when young indigenous girls disappear, we're not just going to say they ran away. We're going to start looking for them because we know that the literal boogeyman is wandering around selling padlocks. But no, I am going to guess that their policies have not really changed whatsoever. The parents, obviously alive, still grieving. His mother, at least at the time that all the interviews that I watched happened, was alive. It would have been fucked up if she wasn't. But the families of the victim are like, this is fucking fresh fucking shit because these are little fucking kids. So many fucking people who then are going to second guess, maybe I should have gone to the cops. Or maybe they did go to the cops and the cops didn't listen to them because of all the fucking runaway bullshit. At any rate,
right.
We don't like him. We're coming down.
We here at Strangeful Things.
We are very anti Mr. Lopez, and that's the whole story. So, what do you think of that?
Oh, if only there were more.
I mean,
well, there is more. We just don't know it.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do fan fiction on the Patreon because that's too much work. Also, it's pretty weird. But
yeah, that'd be kind of freaky, creepy.
Tell everybody how they can get us.
How can you get us? You can go to allmylinks.com/strangefulthings.
Yeah.
On there are links to the show's Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff, as well as Acadia and mine.
You know what else you can do?
So go there.
You can go to
Dance.
Well, yeah, but you can also go to the fucking convention we're going to in Raleigh.
Oh yeah, what's it called? I don't remember.
Carolina Fear Fest.
Carolina something. Fear Fest.
We'll put that on the All My Links page.
Carolina Fear Fest.
Thank you to our
up in Raleigh
marvelous, beautiful, super sexy patrons for being so marvelous.
Well, I know that's true of at least one patron.
You mean you, don't you?
I do.
I knew it. I didn't say you were wrong. I just said I knew it. So basically, we love you, one and all. Everyone that listens to us, even the guy that started listening on YouTube and then said, I stopped listening after 18 minutes because you got political, which makes me laugh. And it was the episode about the Papa Bawa. You know what? Go to youtube.com/strangefulthings and follow us on YouTube. It's the same thing that you're gonna get if you listen to the show, like if you subscribe to the show, but whatever. It's not gonna hurt anything, and we're making cool thumbnails for him now, so you get to see our heads. I guess that's it.
Our heads are impressive.
But
they are.
Well,
so I guess what everyone really should be doing is keeping on flapping, keeping on flapping and slapping. Well, as we sign off tonight, let's say one last keep on flapping to Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh yeah,
as he flaps his way to wherever he's going.
That's right. This is what I have to say to Gilbert Gottfried. Bye-bye.